Good morning. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Just sharing this around to my other page. And we will get started. Thanks, babe. Whew, it's been a morning. It is raining here. Was pretty yesterday. Got the lawns cut yesterday and all the weed eating done and filled the bird feeders, all that good stuff. And then shortly after that, it started raining. So we got that done at the right time. Thank goodness. Let me set this up here so I can see the comments. So, if you're joining, come on in. This is, hi Mitzi, how are you? Good morning. This is just our Tuesday, just Molly's Moments with Jesus, and going through the devotional that we've been going through with Miss Liza Turkhurst. If you guys don't know who she is, you ought to pick up one of her books. She's amazing. This one is Seeing Beautiful Again. We went through the first one that I found last year, which was absolutely great. Hey Paula, good to see you. And I was reading through, I'm on these protein shakes right now. I have to tell you, they're great. This one's got strawberry and it's like chocolate strawberry. So, you don't even know if you're like drinking something that's good for you. When it tastes good, you're like, I'll take that. Tastes like a really good smoothie, really good milkshake right there. Well, probably not a milkshake because I'm drinking it, but really good chocolate and vanilla. But this one is chocolate because I am a chocolate girl. So trying to finish this up so it doesn't taste nasty and just a little bit, almost done. Oh, very, very good though. My husband keeps telling me I need more protein in my diet. And I just got off the treadmill for 50 minutes. So, and I normally do this right afterwards because Mr. Gary Brecka says that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to like get up and exercise for 30 minutes. And I was an overachiever, and then have protein and he says, do all the good stuff, right? So I've been trying to do the good stuff. So far good, 8 pounds down. Losing some body fat, which is good. Feeling good, which is even better, right? So here we are. Now I'm drinking protein shakes. Who knew? Who is this woman? Where is the Molly that you once knew? That's what I want to know. Who was just sitting here eating honey bun cake in front of you, right? Well, I do still love the honey bun cake. Let's not get crazy. We just don't eat it quite as often as we used to. And I'm drinking more protein drinks for sure. So this is really good. Okay, that's finished and done. Thank you. Wow, that is a good thing. So, if you're here, say hi. Don't be a stalker. Stalkers aren't cool. Okay, they're not cool. I know somebody's told you that stalkers are cool. Just say hello. You don't have to have full blown conversation. It's okay, but say hello. Say hello. Hi Angie. See, Angie's like, I don't want to be a stalker. I'm gonna say hello. That's what we do. That's what we do. So, hopefully these are helping some of you. Some of you just might be like, what's she talking about today? And I get that. But I got a lot of inspiration going on here. From the place we probably all should be getting it from, which is the Bible, or people who like to talk about the Bible. I try to figure out all the time what I was thinking when I was trying to do life without God in my life. Tracy, hello. Love to see you, my friend. Thanks for being on here. I don't know how people do it, but I'm not going to judge them because I was trying to do the same thing. For many, many, many years in my life, I was just an angry elf and tried to just say, I have this, I got this. And sometimes it felt like I did. And other times I felt like, boy, am I a hot mess. And that's kind of how I define myself most of the time. It's just a hot mess. So this should like bring you comfort that if you feel like you're a hot mess, know that God can still use a hot mess. That's a good thing. That's a very good thing. So life has been really, really, really busy for me. Trying to, breaking into a new business and mentoring people and trying to, make money and keep the bills paid, but just trying to keep immense joy in God in the middle of everything that I do. And sometimes I'm not real good at that, which is why I read these devotionals and stuff, because there are many times that I want to let people get under my skin. And you know what? That doesn't help. I still let it happen, but it just doesn't help all the time. So what I'm telling you is this could be a bad day for you. This could be a bad week for you. And we're in May and you might be like, no, Molly, it's been a bad year so far. I need you to know I've had bad years too. I've had bad months, I've had bad weeks, and I've had bad days. What I will tell you is that here I am, and I have survived 100% of them. I have. And I don't think that's by accident. And to be real honest, I don't always think it's because of anything I've done. I think what happens is the path has just come back to where I realized that somewhere in all of this, God had to be in what I was doing. Um, yeah, everybody, please keep Joanna's fur baby in your prayers. Lots of issues there. She's like in jail. She's in crate jail. That's what I call it, because she's trying to get better, slip discs, and trying to find all different stuff. So, our fur babies are like our kids 100% of the time. You just want them to get better. You don't realize how much you take their love for granted until they're not able to do it. So, yeah, most definitely. If you do have a prayer request, I did read one today that right before I got on. There is an infant, or I should say probably a toddler, that took a fall. The little boy's name is Cordell, and he took a face plant basically, but there was also injury somehow or other to the spine, and they didn't know it right away. So you don't have to know who, you don't need to know why, but you know what? You hate whenever you see kids that are hurt in any capacity, accidents, and we all know it happens. But he's got a swollen spine. So and they say that he's making progress. So God is in it. He's making progress, but you don't have to know Cordell, but you know what? Say a prayer for Cordell. Good morning, Christy. How are you, my friend? Good to see you. Haven't seen you on here in a while. That tells me you've been busy. That's not a bad thing. So, we were talking about bad days, bad months, and there are many of you on here that I follow. And I follow your journeys. Hi, Marlene. And I follow your posts and your struggles. Let me tell you, some of you, the struggles that you have, I feel horrible even talking about my struggles, because have you ever like complained about something and then basically you say to yourself, what am I complaining about? Look at what they're going through. Yeah, I have felt that way lately. There have been major losses in lives of people that I care very deeply about. Um, there are losses that you never get over. You just get up every day and decide to get through the day, and you wait for how that loss can in some way help you help others, because that's really what it's all about. Home with the munchkins today. I love that. Your munchkins are not munchkins anymore. They growing up, girl. 100% they're growing up. Um, there is purpose that can be found in everything, but sometimes I feel like we are we are looking for purpose. I feel like in the split moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, have you ever been like, okay, I know this happened. I know this happened. I lost my job. My business isn't doing well. My husband and I are on the outs. My kids aren't talking to me. I don't have enough money to put gas in my tank. Um, Things aren't going well. There are issues with my family. I don't understand this. And you are just like, I just want it fixed. I just want it done. And it doesn't always happen that way, does it? I mean, at least not in my book. Hey, Paula, there are people in worse situations. May the Lord help them. Absolutely. Um, Sometimes I feel like God will use other people in social media to show me that I need to shut up, that, clamp it, Molly. I get that you think what you're going through is bad, but girl, there are worse things. And I think every single one of us can find somebody who's been through something worse, no matter what you've gone through. And sometimes they're the things that bring me back to reality. Sometimes they're the things that really put me in my place, or they make me start looking for the blessings or counting the blessings in my life. And there are so many. There are so many, right? It's kind of like when you're in a situation. Have you ever met that person that no matter what happens, if there's one thing wrong, that's what they concentrate on? Hi, Leslie. Good to see you. There's one thing wrong. There could be five other things that are good in the same situation, but they are going to be the ones who point out the one bad thing every single time. And you just are like, I tell you what doesn't change. The fact that I knew this person was going to point it out. Look, I have a couple of groups. And I can tell you that I can pick the people out when there's something that happens that's bad. I can pick the people out who are going to jump on it every time. It's like they are not looking for the good. They are not looking for the happy. They are not looking for the yay, yay, yay. They are looking for the how can we be negative, right? Oh my goodness, that's how it is. Hi, Melody. Good to see you, baby. Good to see you. And there are. And the thing is, I feel a little bad for them, that they're always waiting for the next bad thing to happen. But yet, at the same time, let's be completely, we're talking here, so let's be honest. I have found myself there a time or two, where every time something has happened, and you feels like if it's happening a few times in a row, that you feel like, yeah, well, let's see what's going to happen now. Yeah, well, here we go. See, I knew that. This is what, I know. I know. But a lot of times in life, that's what happens. Quentin, happy belated Mother's Day to all of the moms and grandmas. God bless you, Quentin. Absolutely. We got a lot of great ones out there, don't we? Sometimes when you are trying to build something, sometimes when you are trying to take a whole lot of hot mess and you are trying to make it better, sometimes you got to dig through more of the mess in order to clear it out before, in all honesty, before you're going to see the better, before you see the light. That's what happens. I use my own examples all the time, how when things are you just feel like it's never going to get better. This is happening and that's happening and this is happening and that's happening. And when is all that going to stop happening? And sometimes you just got to take a moment. Hey, Carol, I knew you'd show up. I knew you would. I wasn't sure if you were at a physical therapy or something this morning, but I knew you'd be here, even if it was for the replay. I believe that sometimes it's like the valleys. You have to go through the valleys before you are able to see what you're supposed to see. See, if you come out, hey Rebecca, if you try to pull yourself out of something too soon, right? Or you try to ignore it or try to act like it ain't happening, how you going to learn anything from it? All you're going to learn is how to run from something, right? You don't want to do that. You don't want to run from something. Sometimes you don't want to see something. You don't see that you need to move forward with something. Sometimes you don't see that, hey, there is something better for you, because you're so stuck in the here and the now. Like, you being in a house and oh, I'd like to paint the walls, but I don't know. Now it's just going to change the feel of everything. Well, maybe you need some change. Maybe you need to brighten the room up. And I thought it was interesting that when I opened up the chapter for this week, it said, when things get worse, just before they get better. I thought this is going to be a really interesting chapter. I felt it immediately. I felt it. And the verse that it was based on was Matthew 7:24. Everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. And look, we've heard the story in the Bible, right? The parable about the foolish man who built his house on the sand, right? And then you've got the wise man who built it on the rock. He built it on solid ground, right? So how are you building your life, and what are you building what you believe? What are you basing that on? Are you basing that on what the world says? Are you basing that on what the next fad is? Are we basing it on something that just makes us comfortable? Or are you basing it on really what God says? Are you basing it on what God wants for your life? Um, and I do believe sometimes. Hi, Nita. Good to see you. I do believe sometimes it is difficult to be able to distinguish. Sometimes you're like, well, I don't know, but this does feel easier. Let me be clear. Easier is not always better. Yeah, it's not. It's not always better. Sometimes doing something that's harder, doing something that's scary, will sometimes bring a lot of judgment. It will sometimes bring, it will bring a lot more hard work. It will bring people who doubt you. I mean, let's go back to Noah and the ark, okay? Let's just go back to it. They had never seen rain, y'all. They had never seen it. And here this dude is building this big ark, this like boat, this thing bigger than, and people thought he was crazy. Hi, Rosie. Thought that he was absolutely crazy to build this ark until the first raindrop fell. Until it suddenly became something they had never seen before. And suddenly he wasn't so crazy, although they were all invited. They all could have gotten on, but they chose not to believe. They thought that he was just foolish, but what he was doing was following what God had said. And that, in a lot of stance, is what this is absolutely about. When things get worse, just before they get better. Rosie says, can't build unless you have a solid foundation. It's very true. And you can put this in perspective with business or with anything. You need a foundation. Hi, Charlene. Good morning. You need a firm foundation. But what does that mean? Needing a firm foundation is like, okay, I need it. It's just going to show up. No. A firm foundation is, you know what? With the Bible, it's one verse at a time. With building a house, it's one block at a time. It's not just taking a pile of bricks and just putting them in the ground and saying, okay, doesn't matter. They don't have to be leveled out. We don't got to do this the right way. Let's just go. Let's just build. No, that's not how this is. It's one stone at a time. And every stone, believe it or not, every single one is important. Like the Bible, every verse is important. And we may not like all the verses, but that doesn't mean it's not important. We may not like what we know we're supposed to do, but I also don't like being a hot mess. So sometimes I like to get it right, right? So let's read. Let's see what she has to say about this. This is again. It says, when things get worse before they get better. This is what Lisa says. She says, over the last couple of years, I've watched my nearly 30-year-old home undergo several renovation projects. Renovations are not for the faint of heart. The projects cause mess. The results are sometimes slow to take place and to take shape. And the process it just sometimes feels like it's never ending. And with each floor that's torn up, wall that's removed, and plan that's put in motion, I'm paying attention. As I've seen portions of our home demolished beyond recognition and put back together again, I'm learning that home renovations are so very similar to heart renovations. I've jotted down some important lessons I've collected from my renovation projects, and I wanted to pass them along from my journal to yours. So here's some of the things. She says, number one, you have to tear some things down before you can build back up in new and beautiful ways. I love that. You have to tear some things down before you can build back up in new and beautiful ways. It's impossible to see true transformation unless you remove the damage in unhealthy portions first. I mean, what if they took down 3 really bad, deteriorating walls, but they said, we really don't want to worry about that 4th one. I think the other 3 will support it. Let's not do that 4th wall. That's going to be a hot mess situation soon to come, right? Sometimes we have to work through what was so that we can move on to what can be. This doesn't always mean that we have to remove people who don't want to cooperate with healthier patterns for our relationships, but it may mean that we have to create boundaries that clearly establish what behaviors are acceptable and what are not. Boundaries are not established to shove people away, but rather to hold ourselves together. How many times have you heard me say, it's okay, even with family, to love them from over there? It doesn't mean you don't love them. It doesn't mean you wouldn't do anything for them. It just means sometimes the relationship can be toxic between you and that other person, you and the person at work, you and the person in your family, you and this friendship. That it's not that you don't want to be there, but you have to love them from over there. It's exactly what she's saying. We have to be able to hold ourselves together. And in order to do that, you have to set boundaries. Number 2, working on the foundation isn't the most appealing or attractive work, but it is some of the most important. Jesus spoke of this truth in Matthew 7:24-27. Everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house. Yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into place is like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash. Even though working on the foundation isn't the most glamorous part of construction, it is a crucial step that we can't skip. I love how Eugene Patterson paraphrased Matthew 7:24-25. This is what he said. He says, these words I speak to you are not incidental additions to your life, homeowner improvements to your standard of living. They are foundational words, words to build a life on. If you work these words into your life, you are like a smart carpenter who built his house on solid rock. Rain poured down, the rivers flooded, a tornado hit, but nothing moved that house. It was fixed to the rock. Wow, that's good stuff right there. Building our lives on anything but God's truth will result in a shaky foundation, a detriment to any building project before it even begins. We must put in the necessary hard work of building our lives and our faith on the solid grounds of Scripture through the consistency of daily seeking God. Number three. Not everyone, hear this, not everyone is going to like what you're doing. Boy, do I feel this one. Change invites both compliments and criticism. Sometimes people criticize what they don't understand, My counselor, Jim, often tells me people are down on what they aren't up on. I love that. When I read that, I must have read it like yesterday, like 3 times. People are down on what they aren't up on. Think about it. You know what you're doing. You're sure about it, but now you're getting criticisms because people are down what they don't know about. People are down because they don't even ask about the situation. People are down because they're making judgments because they're just not up themselves, or maybe they haven't seen exactly what is. Maybe they only see how they want to see it. It's a good point, you got to admit. While change is good, people who don't like change will be the last to call it good. Um, I am finding that. I am finding that in life right now that people say, well, this is how this has always been done, so this is the only way that it can work. I am not that person. I am not that person. I believe that there is a way for everybody to do it. I do. And I believe that unless we're talking about the plan of salvation and getting to heaven, there is always a different way that we can get to the same place. And you know why I know that? Because we're all different. We're not all the same. We all come from different places. We all come from different paths. We are all on different highways of life, but yet we may be all going towards the same goal. And that means that as long as we are willing to put in the work to figure out what works for you and how to get you to that goal, then your plan is the right plan as long as you're building a firm foundation. While change is good, people who don't like change will be the last to call it good. Just remember, what comes out of someone else's mouth is a reflection of their hearts, not yours. When you have somebody who wants to fight you about your journey and about how you're walking your journey, they're not walking your journey. They're not building business the way that you are. They're not even in a relationship to judge your relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, they've had every failed relationship out there, but people don't like change, and people want to say, well, no, this is how I've always done it. Well, I'm glad you are, and I'm glad that's working for you, but some people need different. Some people do different. And by the way, do you know how we reach people? We reach people because we give them a different way to get to the same goal. And I love that about life, but yet I can remember there was a time when I was that person too, that I thought, nope, this is probably the only way. This is the only way to do it because this is the way everybody's always done it. Nope, don't think so. Don't think so. Just remember, what comes out of somebody else's mouth is a reflection of their heart and not yours. Here's number 4. It's good to stay humble enough to realize sometimes you need to get the professionals involved. Some things you can do on your own and some things you can't. Many small repairs can be handled without the help of a professional, but most large renovations that require more major work must be handled with care by those who are skilled and experienced. The same is true with the deeper emotional work in our lives. There are doctors, Christian counselors, and therapists trained to bring renewed health and restoration to both body and soul. My family and I have benefited greatly by bringing in the professionals in seasons when it was necessary, and we're so grateful we did. Never think that you can't reach out for help. Never think that the problem can be bigger than what you can handle, because that happens in all cases of life, and that's why you have those people to come in. You have more experience. Maybe they have more knowledge. Maybe there's more biblical sense in it that can absolutely direct you and help you get there yourself, or with your significant other, or maybe your whole family, because sometimes that's what it takes. One person from the outside sitting in saying, let's get this done. Number 5, those who don't lose sight of the progress being made will find joy in the process. Think about that. Those who don't lose sight of the progress being made will find joy in the process. And it's always a process. Renovations often make things worse during the tear out and early construction phases before things start to get better and more beautiful. The same is true with healing the human heart. Heart renovations, like home renovations, take diligence, patience, and a whole lot of prayer. But with God as our master, patience but with God as our master carpenter, we can live assured in the process, and we are a beautiful work in progress. Track the progress you do see. Be patient with the setbacks. Look, you're always going to have setbacks. Rosie says your beliefs, your foundations, the walls of your life. Make your life strong. Make those walls strong enough to hold you when the storms come. Hurricane strong. When others see what you have built, they may want to follow. Oh, Rosie, you were meant to be on this one today. That is so good and absolutely true. I love that. Um, Track the progress you do see. Be patient with the setbacks. I'm that person who would rather beat myself up for a setback. I don't know about you, but I have been guilty of that and have had to pull myself out of that many, many, many times to say, Molly, quit beating yourself up and look at the progress you've made. Look at the success you've seen. Look at the fact that you are so much further along in your relationship with God. Lee says we reach people by meeting them where they are 100% of the time. I love that. Celebrate the wins, even the small ones. Stacks of small wins turn into big wins. That is so true. Man, everybody's just looking for that one big win, when in reality, man, when you take all those small wins and you put them together, it is such a huge, huge win. I love it. And eventually you'll be so glad that you pressed through the renovation when you see the beauty that comes from all the hard work. And by the way, I don't know any renovation that does not take hard work. I don't care if you're cleaning up your life personally. I don't care if you are looking to help somebody else get better. I think the thing is, be patient with yourself and know there's going to be setbacks. You know how it is. People are working on their house, whatever, and they have these great plans, and all of a sudden the thunderstorms come and they got to quit, and work is done for the day, and now the calendar is pushed back, and something doesn't come in, or something's back ordered that you need for the kitchen, or whatever that looks like. It isn't any different in your own personal life, in your own heart. Just because you're trying to heal your heart, just because you're trying to get on a better path, does not mean that life is going to stop and you're not going to encounter things that can trip you up. You are going to encounter those things. And for you, if you just go ahead and expect them, but expect that just like the other things, you're going to get through them, because with God, and if you're building that foundation with Him, you're going to get through it. But Molly, I don't know how to deal with this person. I don't know how to do this. You know what? Ask God to direct you how you're going to deal with that person, that situation, that living situation, that relationship with your kid, that business upset, whatever it is. Ask Him for the direction and know that somewhere along the line you've asked for it. You're going to find it. It may not be in the moment, but you will find it. Your heart will heal. Your life will become better. And then what happens is it helps you that when you hit those little potholes in life, when you hit these bigger storms, that we didn't say a shutter's not going to fall off. We didn't say that something couldn't happen. But when the foundation is firm and you know where you're at, I don't know, it feels different. It feels different. I feel like, okay, this wasn't good, but I feel like I'm going to get through it. I feel like I can do this. I feel like no matter what the challenge is, I'm going to get through it. And I think that that is me allowing God into my life and in my heart, and letting Him talk to me in His word to say, I never promised you that it would be easy, but I promised you that I would walk it with you. That's my firm foundation, is the fact that I don't walk alone any longer. You can read that any way that you want to. Oh, here goes Molly, the Jesus freak. Something gave her a little cancer, and here she goes. Ever since then, she's been on this Jesus kick. Well, I guess you could word it that way. I guess maybe that little pothole in my journey on my road kind of told me that I wasn't strong enough to handle it on my own. And that while I have been busy trying to say I got everything, I think I very much found out there are things that come into my life that I cannot handle, that I don't handle it well. Sometimes I let situations roll over me in my life because I'm trying to protect other people. And I am realizing that is not really who I should be. That I need to do what's right and what God would want me to do. And sometimes there are going to be casualties. There will be. Those people who don't want you to do this, or these people who want you to shut up, or these people who don't agree with what you're saying. That's okay. They don't have to, and quit trying to convince them that they have to. And quit letting them make you feel bad that you're doing it differently, that you're choosing to have God in your life, you're choosing to take another direction. Let me tell you something. Success and relationships and things that are good technology, everything has been forged through somebody saying, you can't do it this way. Stop trying to break the mold. Molds need to be broken. They do. They don't. And if you're the somebody who wants to just go with the mold, go ahead. I'm not judging you. But you're not going to sit and judge me or other people because we have chosen to do something different, because we are forging a path that maybe hasn't been seen before. Maybe you're like, Molly, I've just never met anybody who every time they get kicked, people be kicking at you all the time. People be trying to walk over you all the time. People be trying to talk over you all the time. People be trying to trip you up all the time, Molly. Life hasn't been good. Your mama died when you're 16. Your kids weren't good to you for a while. You had a divorce. You had all this. What was that? It was me breaking out of the mold of how it should be, and knowing that God had a bigger purpose to show other people that it can be different. It can be different. And that he never gave up on me, not one time. Even when I walked away from him, he never gave up on me. Not once. He's still here in the moment. He's still here letting me know the girl, even when you mess up, even when you make it, even when you're trying to take your own path, I'm going to walk through it. And it ain't going to be easy to get you back up on the other path, but you're going to learn from it, and you're going to be better from it. I think when we all learn how to stop blaming God for everything bad that happens in the world, I just love that. It couldn't possibly be somebody kills somebody does something bad, somebody does. It couldn't possibly just be that it's a bad person. It couldn't possibly be that that person made a bad choice. It has to be, oh, that God did it. God did it. God allowed the God. Of course he did. We have free will. We have free will to choose him. We have free will to do good or bad. We have free will to be nice or not to be nice. We have free will to be somebody who's going to be better than. But if you choose not to, so suddenly it's just so much easier. Boy, God gets blamed for so much. But you know what? As much as we try to blame him, and look, I've done it too. I've done it too. I blamed him. I said, how could you? Why would you do this? Look what it's done. I don't understand. You could have stopped it. We are creatures of free will. And sometimes bad things happen to very good people. And our job, if we're going to sit and spend all our time blaming God, we're never going to see what God can take and use through the bad thing that happens. The devil made me do it. Oh, Rosie, you're so funny. I love you. Carol says, I've hit rock bottom. One way, the one way is up. That's right. It can be fixed. It can be different and be better from it. Yes, you can be. And what other people are seeing through the journeys of getting back up when you hit rock bottom, whew, that sometimes is the telling story. Telling your story. Letting people hear the dirt, the man, the good, the bad, the ugly. And I have people tell me all the time, I would never be brave enough to share some of the things. That's okay. Maybe you weren't called to share those things, but maybe you were called to hear me do it so that you knew you weren't alone. And that in itself will help you move forward instead of staying stuck. Don't think that you're not brave because you're not coming forth with things that have happened. I don't think God calls everybody to do that. And for the longest time, I fought it. I did. But I do think that everybody needs to know in this life that they're not alone. And as much as God could come down and put all his feelings out there to say, you're not alone, you have me, he uses us with each other to let us know that we're not alone. Because we don't have the pleasure of walking with Jesus right here in person like so many had that blessing. But we can be like him. And we can walk people through their journey even by sharing. This is a right time for us to come together, talk about Jesus. Mama Molly's been speaking to our souls for a while now. We're better for it. Keep walking on this journey. Rosie says, ask God for his hand to help bring you up forward in your life. Absolutely. This is what we do. Look, people go, oh, Molly's just out there talking about this. No, Molly likes to hear your stories. And when you guys are here and you're chatting with me and you let me know that you get it, it's not about the fact that you're like, let me tell you about this deep, dark secret. It's not about that. It's just about, I hear you and you're not alone. And I've been somewhere similar. I think about the things that as much as I may look and go, God, I don't understand. Why did you let my mom die like that? But at the same time, when I look back at instances after my mom died, that I was in the middle of it, and I look and I shake my head and I go, I don't even know how I got out of that. I don't even know how I got out of that portion of my life because I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here now because of those moments in my life that I took the bad turns. I was led down roads that I thought, I don't care if I go down here, let me just go down this road. But God knew that he could use it for the better. And he knew that somebody was going to need to hear the stories. And he knew that he needed somebody to be brave enough to say, you're going to be okay. You're going to come through it. You're going to come to face with those things, and you're going to figure out how to just leave them at the feet of Jesus and say, that is my past, and this is my present. And I'm not going to allow that old wall of myself to hold me hostage any longer, waiting for it to fall. I'm going to knock that booger down, and I'm going to build another wall there, and I'm going to have 4 strong walls, and we are going to have on a strong foundation, and we are going to move forward. That's what we're going to do. So this was her prayer for today. She says, God, help me have patience for the renovations you are doing in my heart in the messy middle of the process. Help me see the beauty that is taking shape and the joy that can be found even here in this season. So you know what? I think that's an amazing prayer. God, I'm going through a storm. God, the rain is pounding on the roof. God, the thunder and the lightning are so close. God, there's a tornado warning outside of my life, and I feel like I'm getting ready to get sucked up in it. But I know that you're here, God, that you are here in the presence of this storm I'm feeling, And thank you for being my foundation. Man, huge, huge to be able to say, no matter what this storm brings me, He's going to walk it with me. I'm going to get through it, no matter what it leaves me with. So think about it and know it's a whole lot better to know He's with you than to know you're walking it alone. Rosie says maybe when Molly's talking her stories, that could be God's hand to help you up. Listen, take His hand to build your foundation. Rosie, no greater words, because it's never too late to build a new foundation with God. He's right there. He is right there waiting for you to want to build a foundation with Him this time. Look, if it's never worked before and you've tried to do it on your own, you've tried to do it with whatever everybody in the world is saying, what your person is saying who would like you never to get better, likes you just the way you are because misery loves company. If that's not working, then build a different foundation. Bring God into it. And let's see if one stone at a time, it feels a whole lot better to stand on the rock than to stand on that shifting sand, because when the waters come in and the waves hit you and that sand, your feet's going in and you're sinking and you feel yourself wanting to be toppled over. But if you're on a firm foundation standing, you have a lot better chance to keep standing up. And when the storm passes, you may be wet. You may have been bounced around. But your feet, they are firmly planted in the presence of God. And that's what's important. That's what I got for you today. I hope this has helped. We will be back next week. Next week, a matter of fact, it's called The Blessings of Boundaries. This is a really, really good one. You're not going to want to miss it next Tuesday. I'm a little behind getting these on YouTube, but I will get back to that. I have them all saved down. Maybe today, maybe not today. Who knows? But I will get to it. Love you guys so much. Thank you for joining me. Some of you are so faithful. You're always here for me. And Rosie, I want my foundation to be the colors of the rainbow with a unicorn in the backyard. I hear you. Carol, one step at a time. That's my motto. It has to be, right, Carol? You're trying to get that walking thing and everything down, but you keep doing it. So your foundation, you are building it just one stone at a time. Keep doing it, everybody. I love you, and I will see you again next Tuesday. Take care.